Before we start, please read the description. And without further ado, Aqua and the Heat Seeker, Episode 7, Earth-712, Act 1, 2016. The sun shines on Cosmopolis. A blonde man with a red suit and yellow cape zooms through the air, followed close behind by a slim woman wearing a purple and yellow suit, speeding through the streets and sky. The people of Cosmopolis cheer as they see the heroes in a friendly competition. "Mommy, look, it's Blitz and Hyperion!" a little girl says to her mother. Blitz and Hyperion flash past the civilians, enjoying the spectacle. Finally, the two stop in front of the Squadron Supreme mural that had just been painted. Blitz's eyes widen as she sees the splashes of color on the wall in front of her. "You brought me here to show off the mural, Mark?" Blitz asks Hyperion. "Of course, Shauna. They got everything perfect, down to the last detail," Mark says, smiling up at the mural of him and his team. "Stop looking at yourself," Shauna says condescendingly to Mark. Mark crosses his arms and smirks. "You know, the invitation is still extended. You can join the squadron, become a guardian of humanity. With your speed, you can really make a difference," Mark says as his tone becomes serious. Shauna doesn't seem to agree. She graciously declines. "Mark, Powerhouse Olympian and I, we already make a difference. We fight for the people that can't reach the squadron. And like I said, if I join the team, they come with me. No questions about it," Shauna says indignantly. Mark raises his head and his eyes slowly shift away from Shauna, almost seemingly thinking about the statement. Suddenly, the sky begins to change. It becomes a strange green color. The residents of Cosmopolis look up at the sight. Shock, awe, and confusion lines the face of all the people. Blitz and Hyperion stare up at the sky as well. "What in Creator's name?" Hyperion begins to say as he sees Nighthawk flying down toward him. "Mark! Shauna!" Nighthawk says, his voice full of panic. "Kyle, what's going on?" Mark asks. Kyle explains that a portal has been opened in the middle of Cosmopolis, and two men with metal faces stepped out. "They're using some sort of magic. They're cloaking their bodies," Nighthawk says. Hyperion nods to his friend and ally, telling him to gather the rest of the Squadron Supreme. "And Blitz? Go get Powerhouse and Olympian. We need all hands on deck," Hyperion says, taking off into the sky as Blitz speeds off toward the base of operations for her trio. As Blitz runs, fear fills her heart. She manages to rush a few people to safety, but as she tries to save some, others die right in front of her eyes. Act 2. Watching as they fall. Uatu stares at his visual of the destruction. The men with the metal faces walk through town, plowing through every civilian, every child, and every innocent, killing those who dare to oppose him, and neutralizing those who fear him. "Resistance is futile. You cannot hide from your end," one of the metal-faced men say as they walk alongside each other. Uatu sits silently, speechless as he watches the carnage. Powerhouse and Olympian rush towards Squadron Supreme when they see Blitz speeding toward them. She stops in her tracks. "Something's going on," Blitz yells as they hear civilians screaming and the ground around them shakes from the very magic of the metallic-faced individuals tearing the world apart. "No shit," Powerhouse says. Just then Olympian looks up, seeing people falling from the top of a skyscraper. He can't count them quick enough, so he doesn't know how to calculate how long it would take to save them. "Blitz, let's move," Olympian says, leaping off toward the building as Blitz follows behind. Olympian lands right in front of the building, and with a running start, he leaps back up into the air, managing to parkour up the side of the building. He grabs onto the wreckage and flings himself up, hopping up the side before catching a falling civilian in his arms. Meanwhile, Blitz uses her speed at the bottom of the building to create a sort of vortex big enough to encompass the civilians. Uatu watches this unfold, hoping that this ends better than the fall of Earth-833. Nighthawk flies in next to Hyperion as they move to find the metallic-faced men. "Where did you see them last?" Hyperion asks. Nighthawk has no answer, saying that he had sent Wizard to search the city, but he hadn't come back yet. Just then, he saw something on the ground that made him stop in his tracks. His eyes widen, fearful and with disbelief. "No, Stanley," he says, laying on the ground with a gash across his stomach, with his body battered and his legs crushed. Wizard lays close to death. Hyperion and Nighthawk land next to him. Stanley, speak to me. What happened?" Mark says, his tone concerned and desperate. I'm sorry, guys. I failed everyone. I couldn't. Stanley tries to say. Kyle attempts to get him to stop talking and focus on his breathing. They told me every world will fall. And just as Stanley trails off, a figure emerges to finish his sentence. To doom. The figure says. Hyperion's eyes shoot up, and as he sees the Doomsayer, he rushes him at superhuman speed, grabbing him by the throat and dragging him along the ground, stopping just short of a wall. Tell me who you are, and why are you doing this? Hyperion screams to the Doomsayer. I merely speak of his motives, and you are merely chaff, Doomsayer says as his fist encases a green hue. Hyperion notices this too late, and is sent flying backward into the ground by the blast that the Doomsayer sent to his chest. As the Doomsayer rises to his feet, he informs Hyperion that his Earth is in its final moments, before raising his hand up to both him and Nighthawk, and merely with his mind, they reduce to husks, physical shells of the heroes that once stood tall and protected Earth-712. Moments pass. The rest of Squadron Supreme arrive, but they're too late. A fight ensues. Dr. Spectrum and Power Princess go against the Doomsayer and his magic. They put up as much of a fight as they can. However, Dr. Spectrum attempts to deliver the final attack, but he collapses to the ground, dead from mere exhaustion. The Doomsayer stands up, revealing himself to be colored in a similar hue to Dr. Spectrum. All he had done was simply absorb his powers, and with that, uses the combined abilities to simply beat Power Princess to death. Immortality is just a word, Doomsayer says. Just then, Blitz, Olympia, and Powerhouse appear in front of the Doomsayer. Gazing around the dead heroes they saw as friends and allies, they feel hopeless, like there's nothing more that can be done. If the Squadron Supreme couldn't defeat this man, they felt that they had no chance. As Blitz kneels first, the others follow. You should not kneel to me, Doomsayer says. Although, I do appreciate the gesture, he adds. You're a magician, Powerhouse says presumptuously. Please, can you stop this? Can you save our world? He questions. The Doomsayer hears this and simply laughs. Your world is gone. Soon it will be as if it never existed. This is only a ripple in the vast ocean of the infinite multiverse. However, if you agree to come with me, a new home will be found for you, the man promises. Just then, a portal opens, showing Chicago, Illinois, of Earth-616 in the year 2028.